All right, y'all, we are back with another video. I definitely had to bring y'all this because here go pencil neck, watermelon head, water jug, Adam Schiff back running his mouth. And of course, these Democrats, they are all mad at President Trump. And of course, Pam Bondi had a hearing today, and you already know that all these Democrats who hate Donald Trump, who hate the Trump administration, was going to try to gang up on her. And I got to give Pam Bondi some credit because she held her own today, going off on this pencil neck, watermelon head Adam Schiff, and the rest of these Democrats. They're trying to call her out, trying to pretty much try to say that Donald Trump is weaponizing this, he weaponizing that, or he's going after his political opponents, but yet they was the one going after their political opponents. They was the one that tried to arrest President Trump. Look what Fannie Willis was trying to do to President Trump, and with like 20 more other people. And like I said, you had Fannie Willis, you had Jack Smith, Letitia James ran on getting President Trump, and they want to talk about that President Trump is weaponizing something. It just don't make sense. And I can't wait to get to this because not only that, even another senator absolutely destroyed the Democrats for what they did. So like I said, I definitely got to show y'all this. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to everybody showing so much support. And shout out to the one that always watches the entire video. The video we did yesterday, y'all watched almost the entirety of the video. The video was like 38 minutes. So I appreciate everybody who stayed to the end. I really, really appreciate it because it definitely helps get the video out there. And I want to thank y'all for that. So like I said, please stay to the end. Let me know in the comment section that you did watch the entire video and you did hit that like button. Very important. I try my best to keep the the message out, let y'all know what's going on. So I appreciate that. So like I said, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and without further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight into this because like I said, y'all gonna want to watch this. So let's start it out right here with pencil neck sitting up here lying, and he just can't stop talking about Donald Trump. He already next after what just happened to Comey getting indicted, so he's next and he know it. So check this out right here by Paul. He said, Senator Adam Schiff has a complete meltdown and get ridiculously frustrated as AG Pam Bondi interrupts and insults him over his failures in California. This is exactly how you deal with a piece of Schiff. That's how you deal with a piece of Schiff. You call it out for how it stinks. So let's check this out.
You were asked whether you were firing career professionals, career prosecutors, just because they worked on January 6th investigations. You refused to answer that question. You were asked by my California colleague whether you believe government officials, like immigration officials, have to abide by court orders. You wouldn't even answer that question. This is supposed to be an oversight here.
Oversight?
Oversight.
You can attack me after my time is over.
You've attacked all of us, including President Trump, for your entire career.
You can attack me later, and I know you've got plenty of canned attacks. We've heard them all day to day.
Canned attacks on you?
This is supposed to be...
No one needs a canned attack on you.
Regular order, Madam Chair. I'm trying to speak. This is supposed to be an oversight hearing of the Justice Department. And it comes in the wake of an indictment called for by the president of one of his enemies.
Ain't that what y'all did to him? You want to say one of his enemies, but yet y'all try to indict President Trump. Letitia James got what, $500 million off President Trump? Look what y'all did to him. He's getting y'all because y'all was the one that started this, but the difference is he ain't just going after y'all and calling y'all political opponent because y'all did wrong going after him. That's what he's getting y'all for. You see how they try to play both sides? Oh, look what Donald Trump is going after his political enemies. But they the ones started it. They tried to lock this man up. They had even Sonny Hostin over there from The View was talking about Alvin Bragdon was already talking about putting President Trump in one of the worst prisons in the world in Rikers Island. They started this. Like, come on.
This is supposed to be an oversight hearing, and it comes in the wake of revelations that a top administration official took $50,000 in a bag. And this department made that...
That's a lie. Tom Homan didn't take no $50,000. See, this is what they doing. This is just something else that they come up with. Oh, he took $50,000. Just lying. Like, he already started this Russia stuff and lied about that. All this waterhead son of a... That's all this man do is lie. Just tell lies. You can't believe nothing that comes out of his mouth. If Adam Schiff's mouth running, he's lying. If his mouth moving, he's lying.
Investigation go away. This is supposed to be an oversight hearing when dozens of prosecutors have been fired simply because they worked on cases investigating the former president. This is, and now
What
the
about
current
the
president.
fires in California?
And
Do you
this
care
is
about that,
supposed to
Senator
be,
Schiff?
this is supposed to be an oversight hearing in which members of Congress can get serious answers to serious questions about
Are the riots in LA serious?
About the cover-up of corruption.
He don't want to answer that.
About the prosecution of the president's enemies.
And I think you owe the president an apology.
When will it be
Your entire career, frankly.
that the members of this committee on a bipartisan basis demand answers to those questions and refuse to accept
Clearly you're a failed lawyer
refuse
because
to
you don't
accept,
understand when someone can and cannot
refuse
answer
to
a
accept
question.
personal slander as an answer to those questions.
Personal slander.
With
Will
that,
you
Madam
apologize
Chair,
to Donald
I yield
Trump
back.
for slandering him?
No, he ain't gonna apologize. He been slandering this man for the longest. Every day he wake up, he's slandering President Trump. He's slandering Judge Jeanine. Like, he went out to everybody that supports President Trump and he want to talk about slander. And you see right here is about Eric Dawson breaking Pam Bundy is cooking Adam Schiff. Yeah, that's exactly what she did. So if we get right here and say, holy crap, Pam Bundy just went off on Adam Schiff. You know, Schiff, if you worked for me, you would have been fired. So that's why I say Pam Bundy did not hold back in this hearing.
Was she?
Senator Schiff,
was she
if
right?
you worked for me, you would have been fired because you were censured by Congress for lying with your
We can
egregious...
stipulate to, you can stipulate to all your personal attacks on the Democratic
Look at this, man.
Personal attacks. You've been attacking my FBI director. You've been attacking my office. You've been attacking...
What we're interested in...
borders are.
What we're interested in is the answer to these oversight questions.
You want your
You were asked by my colleague. You were asked by my colleague.
Attacking good people.
Regular order, Madam Chair, so I can ask a question. You were asked by my.
All he do is talk. He won't even let her talk. He just tries to talk over her. Like she said, he's trying to get his little 5 minutes of fame so all his little Democrat buddies can run with it. He knows he's next. That's why he keep on trying to bring up, oh, he's just going after his political opponent. No, look what you did. Not only that, Schiff, you tried to put President Trump's son in prison over a lie. You're going to pay. You're going to pay for that. Now, this is a part right here that I want to show y'all right here. Is that, wow, Senator Eric Schmidt is furious with the Democrats' hypocrisy after it came out GOP senators were spied on by Biden's FBI. Now, y'all got to listen to this right here. Just check this out. And matter of fact, I'm not even going to stop this. I'm going to let this whole 5 minutes right here play. Let's go.
Voice.
I have to say, I am struck by the degree of the cognitive dissonance that I hear on the other side. It really is. I mean, I'm used to sort of the political debates and arguing in court and all those sorts of things. But to hear the other side of the dais talk about weaponization is truly shocking, given what we know now. And I thought what I might do is just tell a story. And these are 100% facts. Hillary Clinton, concerned about her email scandal, works with a Soros organization to cook up this Russiagate nonsense.
Yep.
They feed it to the intelligence agencies. And they spy, under Barack Obama's presidency, they spy on the political opponent, the Republican, running against Hillary Clinton. He gets elected. They continue the operation.
Yep.
And they launder this intelligence into stuff that was meant to, by the FBI and the CIA, to sideline a presidency of a duly elected president of the United States of America, to sideline him. And that continued. You heard even some people on this committee further that nonsense for 4 years. And then the FBI is involved with pre-bunking the Hunter Biden laptop story because they didn't want him to get elected again. So they pre-bunked the Hunter Biden laptop story. The American people should have been allowed to make their own judgments from that. They weren't, because the FBI called it a Russian hack and leak operation. They were meeting with social media companies every month and every week, telling them that the laptop that they knew, that they had verified in November of 2019, they knew was real and knew was his, said it was Russian disinformation. We've heard that before.
Yep.
And then, After Joe Biden comes in, 3 days in, they start a censorship campaign against the country, anybody who's a conservative. And now we also know that the FBI was weaponized in this Arctic frost investigation that tapped the phones of sitting U.S. senators. And also, the Republican Attorneys General Association, so let's pull in 2 more U.S. senators, Ashley Moody and myself, who were on the executive committee at that time. Charlie Kirk, political organizations they didn't agree with. This is not in the Soviet Union in the 1980s. This is in the United States of America in the last few years. And then, when they thought President Trump was on the run and there's no way people would elect him, and then he announces he's running for president, 3 days later, Jack Smith's appointed to get Trump. Fannie Willis brings charges against President Trump. And the assistant prosecutor meets with the White House counsel's office. Why would that happen? Then you have Alvin Bragg bring his charges. The number 3 person at DOJ goes to work for him to get Trump. All in the United States of America. This continued. And Senator Hawley asked the question, wrote it down, what is happening in this country? And I hope that MSNBC is still broadcasting this, because I'm sure their viewership hasn't heard this story that's gone on for 10 years. The truth is, they never forgave President Trump for coming down the escalator at all. They didn't like him. They didn't like the disruption. And they've spent the better part of a decade not just going after him, but demonizing half the country as fascists and Nazis and threats to democracy. And they have fueled this division in their inability to accept the fact that half of the country isn't deplorables, as Hillary Clinton called her, bitter clingers, as Barack Obama called them, or trash, as Joe Biden called them. That they rose up and they sat in their own jury box and they saw all this stuff play out over a decade and they rejected it. And now you have come in to clean that up, and you are doing a great job in doing that. And let me make this clear. There is a big difference between what happened under the Biden regime and the weaponization, and then holding those people accountable. That is not weaponization. If that doesn't happen, this will happen all over again. So your job, as you talked about in your confirmation hearing, is so important that this never happens again. And holding people accountable who are part of this conspiracy is absolutely your job. And I'm also taking, you don't have to comment on this, your unwillingness to answer questions that have come up. I am led to believe, as a former attorney general, that might mean there's an ongoing investigation. You don't have to talk about it. The statute of limitations may have run on some of this stuff, but not on a conspiracy. And if you're a co-conspirator in mile marker 1, even if you want to get on the exit ramp in mile marker 5, you are liable for the conspiracy in mile marker 10. And we are at mile marker 10. And I will also say what's happening in this country. What's happening with the assault on ICE officers is truly shocking. Deportations are nothing new. Bill Clinton deported 12 million people. 12 million people. You didn't see this. The radicalization that's happened on the left that plays out with political violence is real. And by the way, let me also point out that if we had a scenario where John Thune was on the Supreme Court steps saying, you've reaped a whirlwind, Supreme Court justices, and then a right-wing assassin tried to kill Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and then a Republican-appointed judge only gave that person 8 years, there would be riots on the streets. Cities would be burning right now.
And he's exactly right. That's why I didn't want to pause there, because I want y'all to listen to everything he just said. Like I said, going after Adam Schiff them is not weaponization. You getting them because of what they did was wrong. Going after President Trump for no reason, all because they didn't like him. Made up lies, Russian, the Hunter Biden laptop, all that stuff was made up. Made up, and that's what President Trump is going after them for, because of the lies. Trying to lock him up for no reason. Trying to lock up people around him for no reason. But they trying to use that as weaponization because President Trump got to do something about that. Because if not, if they ever get in power again, they'll do it again. So now, holding them accountable, they'll think twice before trying to do something like that again. So President Trump is doing the right thing. So I got to say, man, salute to Senator Eric Smith. Salute to him for that, man. My God, that right there was, just No, absolutely amazing from him. Now, I want to play a couple of these clips from President Trump, and we'll get right back to this. Now, it say President Trump uttered words that terrified Democrats because of their federal shutdown. Billions of dollars of wasteful spending are now being targeted.
President, have you identified programs to eliminate under this shutdown?
Oh, sure.
Which ones?
We have a lot. I'm not going to tell you, but we'll be announcing it pretty soon. But we have a lot of things that we're going to eliminate and permanently eliminate. You know, one of the things that we have is some advantage, you could say, but because of the shutdown, which I think they made a big mistake, we're able to take out billions and billions of dollars of waste, fraud, and abuse, and they've handed it, on a silver platter. And Russell Vogt, he's a serious person, very serious person, and he's sitting there and he's getting ready to cut things. And this is something that was handed to us by, I assume, Schumer. I just don't know if Schumer has any power anymore. I look at your leadership. I don't know who to speak to. I'll tell you what, I'm getting calls from Democrats wanting to meet. I never even heard their names before.
Wow. So he never even heard their names before. Now, I did want to play that for y'all, let y'all know that President Trump, they had right there, was just posted. But let's get back to this right here, because like I said, Pam Bundy drops the mic on Senator Alex Padilla. Now, if y'all remember, he was the one that stormed the Homeland of Security Christian Known. We covered that video when he tried to, went off crying, oh, they arrested me. And this is what Pam Bundy brung up, so let's get to this.
Director Patel was here before us just a few weeks ago. Attorney General Bondi, you are the Attorney General of the United States. Director Patel reports to you. Do you believe he's doing a good job, yes or no?
I believe Director Patel is doing a great job. You know where he is right now, Senator Padilla? Right now, you asked me a question.
Yes,
Director
I know
Patel
where he
right
is,
now
and I know
is
where
in
he's
Chicago,
because you
Senator
said it earlier
Durbin,
in the hearing.
fighting to keep
You said
Chicago
it earlier in the hearing, and yes, I have been paying attention.
You see how he gonna ask a question, then she try to answer it, he cut her off. This is what they do. If it's something that they don't agree with or don't believe, they don't want to hear it. How you gonna ask this woman a question? She tried to answer it, and you just cut her off. This is just crazy.
No, you want order in here now, yet you stormed the Director of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. You sure didn't have order that day, did you, Senator?
Attorney General, you are under oath. I did not storm the secretary.
Yes, you did.
Oh, that was on video. That video has been released, I believe, very publicly.
Mr. Chairman, recent actions raise serious concerns about Director Patel's judgment and politicization, including lawsuits from former FBI officials alleging retaliatory firings, and his decision to cut off longstanding partnerships with civil rights organizations, and his decision to fire an FBI agent for refusing to engage in a, quote, perp walk of James Comey. And on top of all that, his prematurely claiming that subjects were in custody after the shooting of Charlie Kirk. I take Attorney General Bondi's endorsement today of his work as her support for those actions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
May I respond, Senator Chairman?
Yes.
Under Director Patel, 23,000 violent criminals have been arrested, a 91% increase over last year. More than 1,500 child predators have been arrested. We are making cases in your jurisdiction constantly in California, and I wish you would care about those cases. We have disrupted 1,600 gangs and criminal enterprises, 1,600 gangs within this country, thanks to Director Patel and the great men and women of the FBI.
There you go.
Senator Schmidt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And see, and that's just what it is, man. So like I said, salute to her. Let's run back to President Trump. So President Trump called it like it is. Say Democrats are now kamikaze of the United States because they have nothing left to lose.
Well, they're the ones that started it. They're the ones that have it. And it's almost like a kamikaze attack by them. You want to know the truth? This is like a kamikaze attack. They almost, they have nothing to lose.
Nope.
They've lost the elections. They've lost the presidential election in a landslide. I saw the other day where Kamala said this was a very close election. This was one of the biggest sweeps that anybody's ever had. Won the popular vote by millions, won the Electoral College by a massive amount. They said, if I got 270, that would be great. But I got, I think, 312 or 315, and they got 220. So, we won that. But we won counties. The big thing is counties. So out of all of the counties, thousands and thousands, we got 2,500. They got 525. It was a landslide.
Yep.
And we listened, oh, yes, it was close. It was one of the greatest victories ever. And it was a mandate to do what we're doing.
Exactly. So she want to keep on talking about it was close when she know for a fact that it was not close at all. And Kamala Harris knows that, but she's still out there walking around drunk. So let's get back to Pam Bondi. So AG Pam Bondi stunned Senator Amy Klobuchar. Now, this is a 19-second clip. Y'all check this out.
Senator Klobuchar, I'm not going to discuss personnel decisions, but the personnel issue that I'm having right now is that all of my agents, all of my lawyers are working. My agents are on the street working without a paycheck because your party voted to shut down the federal government.
Wow. And look at her. Amy Klobuchar, she can't say nothing right now. Mouth just shut. Can't say nothing. And so here we go again. Say breaking Senator Blumenthal attacked AG Pam Bondi and it backfired massively.
I cannot believe that you would accuse me of impropriety when you lied about your military service.
I am
you
not
lied.
asking
You
you.
admitted you
I am
lied
not
to be
accusing you
elected
of
a U.S. senator.
impropriety. I'm
You
asking
lied.
you
How
about
dare you? I'm a
conversations
career prosecutor.
with
Don't
Mr.
you
Ballard,
ever challenge my integrity.
had
I have
apparently-
abided by every ethics standard. Do not question my ability to be fair and impartial as Attorney General and anything
You'll
with
answer that
my
question to
former
another of my
firm,
colleagues.
Ballard Partners.
Thank you.
Wow. He couldn't say nothing. You lied. You lied. And you trying to call somebody else a liar. And look what he lied about. But like I said, she had a day and she just didn't, Pam Bondi just kept this going. Cause that's the reason why I'm like, whoa, Pam Bondi ain't playing today. Now, salute to Jenna Hawley, man. Let's check out what he had to say.
It is the ultimate weaponization, and weaponization under Donald Trump has ended. It has ended. Harmeet Dillon is running our civil rights unit, and she is doing an incredible job. No longer will parents be targeted. No longer will parents who care about whether their elementary school children have to read a transgender book be targeted and told they cannot have any say in their child's education. That has ended under this administration. People can worship freely, whether they're Catholics at synagogues or Muslims. Everyone can worship freely. That was the ultimate weaponization. They were targeting Catholics. No longer. They have been targeting so many American citizens throughout this country. And Senator Hawley, you have been a champion of this, and thank you for being a champion of that.
Yeah, salute to Senator Hawley. That's what I'm saying. I absolutely like Senator Hawley, man. He's another one that just tells it like it is. But let's keep going because they conversation, they got into like combing them. Let's go.
Manner of things and the current president. I've also heard them said, and I just wrote it down because I wanted to be sure I heard it correctly. I've heard them say that Joe Biden never targeted his political enemies.
That's a lie.
Joe Biden never directed his attorney general to target his political opponents.
Wow.
Huh. That's interesting because I could have sworn that yesterday we learned that the FBI tapped my phone. Let's look at it. We've got a list. Tapped my phone, tapped Lindsey Graham's phone, tapped Marsha Blackburn's phone, tapped 5 other phones of United States senators. Gee, it sure looks like targeting political opponents to me, and yet I haven't heard a word from that side of the dais about any concern whatsoever. We've got nothing but concerns today, but no concern at all for a Justice Department that is tapping the phones of sitting United States senators because who knows why. They don't like them. They're members of the opposition party. They're Republicans. They're conservatives. You've seen this document, Attorney General Bondi. Well, what was going on here? Who ordered this? Who ordered the tapping of the phones of United States senators?
Senator Hawley, I cannot discuss the details of that right now for very good reason.
You're going to do a thorough investigation into this, I trust. Is that correct?
We will be looking at all aspects of this, and I have talked to Director Patel at length about this.
And you're going to figure out who was involved in this, who signed off.
Exactly. But see, that's the thing. Rooster Neck, Watermelon Head, Adam Schiff, he ain't going to talk about that. He just want to talk about weaponization of what President Trump, trying to say that's what President Trump is doing. He's not going to talk about the senators getting their phone tapped. They don't want to talk about that. So let's move on. So breaking, Senator Mike Lee just went off on Democrats for defending Antifa and left-wing rioters. Let's go.
Rioters, Senator Lee, are showing up where our ICE officers are. And as you know, they have fireworks, they have gas masks. You know, they don't want our officers to be protected with their identity, yet they're wearing gas masks, they're wearing goggles. And they're
so it's okay for them to be safe. It's okay for Antifa to be safe. It's okay for those doing the bidding of international violent drug cartels to be safe. But heaven forbid, our ICE officers should be safe.
Thank you, Senator Lee.
You see what I'm talking about? So Antifa, like everybody that be out there can have masks on and goggles, but they want, the federal agents to have their mask off. So the rider can see their face, take a picture of them, dox them, and all type of stuff. See, and that right there is exactly, what they want. And it's just not going to happen. Because like I said before, now this is right here, what you can see right here what Senator Hawley was talking about there, about the phone records. Said breaking, Senator John Hawley demands criminal prosecutions after Jack Smith and the Biden FBI spied on and tracked the locations of GOP senators post-2020. He pretty much said we need a total investigation to everybody who was responsible, and I think there needs to be prosecutions. I believe they also tracked our location over a period of days. This is outrageous. I mean, this is really unbelievable. It's blatantly unconstitutional. It's a violation of the Fifth Amendment. It's a violation of the separation of powers, and also goes to show you the extent in which the Biden administration, who was so corrupt, using the FBI to target their political enemies. But yet, like I said before, they don't want to talk about this. They don't want to talk about this. Now, there was another one, of course, they want to bring up, the Epstein logs and stuff like this. Say, holy crap, Senator Marsha Blackburn and A.G. Bundy exposed Senator Durbin for blocking the release. So he the one blocked the release, but yet you got people like Schiff saying that, President Trump don't want to release the Epstein files, but you got a Democrat that's blocking it. Oh, man, let's check this out.
In February, you made a public claim that the Epstein client list was, quote, sitting on my desk right now for review, end of quote. You then produced already public information and no client list at a major media event hosted at the White House. Attorney General Bondi, why did you publicly claim to have the Epstein client list waiting for your review and then produce nothing relevant to that claim?
Senator Durbin, if you listen to my entire clip on that, I said I had not reviewed it yet, that it was sitting on my desk along with the JFK files, the Martin Luther King files. And I said I had not yet reviewed it. And if you see our memo on Epstein, you will see, our memo on Epstein clearly points out that there was no client list, our July 6th memo. You also didn't let me respond to the HIDTA question. The budget transfers $196 million for high-intensity drug trafficking areas to the Office of Justice Programs, OJP. The Justice Department will continue to administer those grants under OJP in 2026.
Going back to the Epstein files, according to another whistleblower who made a protected disclosure to my office, you pushed the FBI to review approximately 100,000 Epstein-related records on an arbitrarily short deadline in March, and the FBI was directed to flag any documents that mentioned President Trump. Nothing came of that review until July when DOJ and FBI released an unsigned memo stating, quote, there's no incriminating client list. Why was the July 7th memo unsigned?
The July 7th memo came from the FBI and the Department of Justice. Director Patel answered those questions very clear. And, Senator Durbin, I find it very interesting that you refused repeated Republican requests to release the Epstein flight logs in 2023 and 2024. You fought that. Did you take money from Reid Hoffman, campaign donations, who was a huge Epstein friend? Why did you fight for years? Why did you fight to not disclose the flight logs,
That's
Senator
a good question.
Durbin?
I can tell you I did not refuse. One of the senators here wished to produce those logs, and I asked her to put it in writing, and she never did.
Yeah, I think Senator Blackburn would quarrel with you on that.
I will quarrel with you as to Reed, somebody that you mentioned I never heard of.
Reed Hoffman.
So who gave the order to flag records related to President Trump?
To flag records for President Trump?
To flag any records which included his name.
I'm not going to discuss anything about that with you, Senator.
Eventually, you're going to have to answer for your conduct in this. And you won't do it today, but eventually you will. I yield, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I tell you the truth, they are something else, boy.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, since Senator Durbin referred to me, I would really appreciate the opportunity to correct the record.
Proceed.
Because Senator Durbin knows I repeatedly asked for those flight logs. I brought up the subpoena. You even shut down the committee because you didn't want that, and you know I submitted that in writing, and you continue to misrepresent that, and I am not going to let that record stand.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Got him.
Go ahead, Senator Durbin.
Got him.
I just want to make it clear that the reason the committee business ended was that your side invoked the 2-hour rule. Point number 2 is I asked you if you wanted any documents like flight logs to put it in writing. You never did.
Yes, sir, I did. And your staff knows that I did.
No,
we'll submit once again
Send me a copy of
the
that,
information to you. We've done that several times, but we'll be happy to once again send it to you. I think your staff doesn't show that to you.
See there? Caught him in a lie. Just up there just telling a freaking lie. Let's check this one out right here. It says Senator John Kennedy fumed, demanding action in all-out investigation potential lawsuit after Jack Smith and Biden FBI spied on GOP senators following the 2020 election.
A certain period of time.
I have not given them a certain period of time. I'll discuss that matter with my staff and see if that needs to be done.
Okay, if civil suits are filed against the perpetrators at the FBI, will that facilitate your investigation?
Well, what's the question again?
If the 8 senators who were spied upon sue the hell out of the Department of Justice and the perpetrators involved, will that facilitate their investigation and or yours? I guess what I'm getting to is I don't understand why we don't have a separate hearing. I find this breathtaking.
Yeah. It's just been 24 hours since the FBI investigated on it. Please give me an opportunity to sort through all this.
Fair enough. I just don't want to wait 24 years to get an answer.
Yeah.
There you go right there.
We do have an active...
And salute to Senator John Kennedy, because like I said, he's another one that don't play at all. So let's check this one out real quick. The last one. Say, holy crap, Smith is going to skirt your oath on Democrats and calling them out on their both sides argument on political violence. Let's check this out.
We need the cleansing here. Let's just be truthful about what's happening. This left-wing political alliance, violence is not a both sides thing. It's not. And so, Attorney General, I do want to ask you a couple questions about that, because I feel like we have got to get a handle on this. Despite the overwhelming evidence that the political violence threat right now comes primarily from the left, the media just won't do it. They won't go along with it. They cite a few ridiculous studies to say that right-wing political violence is the main problem. For example, one of those studies was written by an Antifa-affiliated professor, and others count classes on prison gang, and the others count classes on prison gang violence as right-wing political violence, but refuse to count anything from the 2020 Summer of Love. Antifa attacks, like the ones that set off the explosive outside Michael Knowles' campus speech. We need good data. We need good data here. Will you commit to having the Department of Justice and the FBI research and release a public report on left-wing political violence?
Yes, Senator Schmidt.
Thank you. I also want to, after Antifa has laid siege on federal buildings and officers in Portland during the 2020 riots, your predecessor, Merrick Garland, dropped virtually all the cases against these defendants. You recently issued a new charging memo instructing federal prosecutors to aggressively pursue Antifa and other radical leftists wreaking havoc on our cities. What can you do to ensure that the various U.S. attorneys' offices follow through on your instructions?
Hopefully we will have our U.S. attorneys confirmed soon. They've been held up. Now our government is in a shutdown, yet our prosecutors are still working. Getting all of our U.S. attorneys confirmed would be a huge step forward, Senator Schmidt. But yes, our attorneys throughout this country will be focusing on that.
And I want to thank you, too. So I talked to you during your confirmation hearing and also with Kash Patel of sort of, you talked about your two pillars, which is to end the weaponization and to get back to actually crime fighting. God bless. Like, that is something that the American people support, despite what you hear from the other side of the dais today. And in those conversations, we talked about you and Kash Patel getting field agents out in the field and doing the work of law enforcement. I said, I've got just the place for you, St. Louis. And St. Louis has now received the largest per capita infusion of permanent FBI agents anywhere in the country, and they're working hand in hand with local law enforcement. That's what happens when you have state leaders work with federal partners to crack down on something I hope we could all agree is a scourge for our communities, which is violent crime. But that is not, J.B. Pritzker, I guess he wants his moment. These Portland people want their moment of defying Trump.
Yep, that's what they want.
It's crazy to me.
That's all they want.
We should all be unified in this effort of making sure our laws are enforced and taking on violent crime. But I will say, in closing with this, because you referenced the shutdown, it's the same motivation. The same thing that motivates J.B. Pritzker to stand in front of the podium and defy Trump is the same motivation I hear from my Democrat colleagues now in this shutdown. It's not about anything other than the fact, and this is a clean CR.
Yep.
This is what they have lectured us on making sure we do 13 times in the last 4 years. This is about appeasing an increasingly radical base to prove that they're willing to stand up to President Trump. And I don't know how we get...
And that's exactly what they're trying to do. So salute to Senator Schmidt, man. So like I said, y'all get in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think about all this. I will keep y'all up to date as more information comes out. Once again, thank you all for watching, especially ones that made it to the end. And like I said, if you haven't hit that like button, please hit that like button. It definitely helps out a lot. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.